Alright guys, so this is going to be a review of the 1/50th scale NZG Liebherr PR764. Currently this is the largest Liebherr dozer made, and it definitely reflects in the model. Before I get into the review, I want to put out there that I am by no means a large dozer fan, so I really don't collect many dozers. I've had one different version of this dozer, but I must say it is very impressive, it's very detailed, and it functions very well, and that's what I'm going to show you here. So let's get into it. I'm not going to start with the front, I'm actually going to start with the back for this review, so hopefully some of you guys will enjoy me doing something a little bit different. So anyway, starting with the Ripper, it has a lot of functions actually, and really good ones. For one, it will lower, and you'll see it hits the ground, but if you raise the tractor, it will lower a lot lower, so it'll actually bring it off the ground, and then you can tilt it forward and tilt it backwards. If you look, it's a single shank, and before I actually zoom in onto it, I want to show you one other thing. If you tilt it, and you don't have to tilt it to do this, but if you look right here, there's a pin, and if you pull the pin out, you could adjust the length of the shank. So you could put it right there midway, and then you can pull it all the way up to right there, and you can increase your depth. So that's a really cool feature, and I like that a lot. I always keep it all the way, I guess you could say, the lowest length. So zooming in onto the Ripper, you can see it's very well made, and one thing I want to point out before I get into anything else is that the pins are very small, and they're friction pins, but they're also black. It's really hard to notice them, and I think being that they are black, it gives it a cool little look. Would have been nice to put them all gray, but I really like the way they look right here. If we take out the shank, you could see it's just a normal piece of die cast. It has a lifting lug, and then this is where you could adjust the height of it, and the bottom of it is actually really nice looking, as you could see. So I'll just put it back, and then I'll go around. If you look at the hydraulics, they all have lines running to them, and that's pretty impressive, especially in such a tight spot where they are. I like how they did that. It gives it a very nice look and a very realistic look. If we come to the back, you can see, you know, really nothing crazy. The paint does look pretty thick on this, but I like the way it looks. It's very glossy and shiny, which is a good thing to some, but not really a good thing to others. I like the way it looks, honestly. And the right side is pretty much identical. And the cylinders are very strong. There's no questioning if they will hold it in a certain position or anything like that. So it's very strong the way it is. Coming to the track pads and the track frames, you can see that they're very nicely made. They're all metal. The pads themselves just basically have the single grouser, and they look very nice, and they look very big and very, so to say, tough looking. The motor, the drive motor really isn't anything crazy, to be honest with you. Looking at it right here, it's, you know, it's alright. It's really nothing crazy. I really don't have much to say about it. The frames of the tracks are also pretty nice. One very interesting and cool thing is that these rollers, and on the bottom, they will actually roll. So that's a really cool feature. If we come over here and we bring the tracks down, you could see that the rollers underneath actually move and everything. So that's extremely impressive, to say the least. These really aren't big pieces. They're smaller than a person's fingernail. And the fact that they do move and everything and do actually work is pretty insane. And I wanted to make sure that I let everybody know that. Another really cool feature, and I'll have to adjust the camera real quick for this, is if you look at the track frames, they do adjust to anything that's in their way, and it will self-level the machine, so that's really cool. The way that does that is from this bar right here, and it just pivots right there, so that's impressive, to say the least. it's, you know, we're not really a model probably on everybody's list, but the features and the detailing and the functions are just, you know, something that I personally never had on a model that I've ever owned. Right side of the machine, you can see has all the detailing, or I guess you could say the looks of vents, and the decaling right here. There's an air intake, and there are railings, and they are metal. And the railings go around to the whole back of the machine as well, as you could see. And the back of the machine has the large Liebherr logo, and up top it has the AC unit and the lights on the back. And you could also see that the cab is two-tone, so it's also white. Coming to the side, you can see the same thing. Another air intake, I believe. The windshield wipers, and there's more railings. You can see on here, just as the other side, it's diamond plated texture right there. And the front of the cab also has a windshield wiper and some railings. While we're looking this way, right here you can make out the exhaust. The exhaust is not hollow, it's just painted black there to represent that it is hollow, and it does do a very good job of that. And you can see the hydraulic lines running to the cylinders to raise and lower the blade. And if you look up top here, you could see what would be some vents and basically to get some air in and out of the engine right here. And they do that by just adding little black dots, and it does work very well because as small as those black dots are, they do the job, and they give it a very nice look. On the side, basically the same thing. Here's the venting texture and the railings over here. And if we turn the model to the right side, you could see the exact same thing, and there are some warning logos. And these little black pieces right here would represent handles that would open up that compartment, and you could service the engine. Coming to the blade, and I'll go to the arms. The arms are the same on both sides. You could see that there is a screw to hold them on right here, and on the side right here there's a step to get on them, and over here is a little bit of texture. The cylinder to tilt the blade, which I'll show you right now, has an extraordinary amount of movement, and will come back all the way. One thing I want to say is that the cylinder is not painted, and it matches very well, which is a very large plus. If we look on the inside over here, you can see the support arm, and that runs to the center. The model itself is engineered very well, so I must add that in. The cylinders to raise and lower the blade could match a little bit better, but honestly, they're good the way that they are. And coming to the front of the blade. Front of blade is nothing really crazy. It's basically a Dozer blade. You got the plate on the bottom here with the bolt detail, and you know, these cutouts up here. And coming to the side, that's pretty much the model. It's very well made, as you could just tell from this review. All the functions of it are just spectacular. It's, in my opinion, it's probably a perfect model. I'm not familiar with the real machine, but what I can tell, it's pretty dead on. So I highly recommend it. For the price, it is definitely worth it, and you will not be disappointed if you get this. So definitely pick one up when you can, and they're available in a couple of liveries. I have a review of the Kai Bag livery, so if you want, check that out as well, and take care.